All right, awesome. So, welcome to the podcast. It's awesome to have my brother here, Jacob O'Neill. Welcome to the podcast, man.
Yo.
So good to have you here. Jake, I've been connected with Jacob for quite a while now. So, Jacob is obviously a men's coach. Obviously, if you haven't heard of him, then you probably should have by now. But if you want to find out more about Jacob, then obviously you can find him on Instagram and all the right places. But man, the question that I have for you, and I know your wisdom and your knowledge and your teachings will just come out through this conversation rather than just going through your history and the amazing things that you've done and the amazing things that you're doing.
Mm.
I suppose what I'm most curious about to start off with is the vision that you're leading and the things that you're doing. Like, who is the man that you've had to become along this journey? Rather than talking about all the things you've had to do, for example, like, who's the man that you've had to become?
The first thing that came to me, which is I don't even know if this is the right frame, but it's a man of faith, and I don't mean that in a religious sense. I mean like a man of faith in what I'm capable of. It's almost the man I am becoming, or the man I've had to become, didn't exist. So I had to have faith that he existed outside of my known world. So it's like, cool, I'm putting all of my chips, I'm pushing all of my money on this version of me that isn't here yet. So if you ask me what I had to become, it was faithful.
Mm.
And from faith, I learned to trust in the process.
Yeah, this is cool because when I think about faith and the way that I don't come from if you ask my parents and the household that I grew up in, they essentially described themselves as atheists. So anything spiritual or anything like that didn't exist in my household growing up. But when I think about faith and the way that I've come to understand it is believing in the best outcome possible.
Mm.
And fear is believing in the worst outcome possible. And what my mentor has once said to me is fear and faith both require the same thing, which is believing in something that hasn't happened yet.
Mm.
But it's like, are you going to allow yourself to be led by faith or led by fear? Because they're both just like figures of your imagination.
Mm.
So how would you expand on like faith and actually someone exploring faith or like finding what faith is for them?
So faith requires letting go and surrender. So not a very masculine thing to do, right? Not very men's coach like submitting to something a greater force. That's
Yeah.
the essence of faith: is can I surrender to something greater than myself and trust in its capacity to guide me and walk me towards what I think I want, but inevitably to what my soul is asking me to create and experience. Now, I can have an idea of what that is, but based on what I believe a vision is for a man, it's this ongoing dance with the infinite. That's all a vision is I'm dancing with the infinite. Every time I get to my vision, ironically, the vision has expanded and grown beyond what I can reach again. So it's this ongoing dance with the infinite. And faith has allowed me to continually trust in my dance moves, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, you talk about, I know when we've had conversations before and you talk about this a bit as well, is like being delusional
Mm.
with like your vision and what you're creating. And you talk about your level of delusion to create what you've created as well.
Mm.
So how do you tie in, I suppose, your level of delusion with that faith that you're talking about?
They're kind of one and the same. Like, to be
Mm.
faithful is to believe in something that doesn't exist. So that is by definition delusional in modern society. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, you believe in something that doesn't exist? Like, yeah, and watch me create it. Like, there's a level of righteousness and ego that drives me on some level. Like, I'm human, I'm flawed, I've got an identity, and I'm also aware of that. So like, I'm constantly in the dance of. There's a part of me that's fed by my ability to create from thin air. Like, I like the magic. I
Mm.
like this idea of being aware of something that people can't put their finger on it, that they can't necessarily comprehend, and then bringing that into reality. I
Yeah.
inevitably love to create. That's the ultimate kind of summation of like, yeah, I do love to give back and all these things, but I also love to create and see who I become in the process of creating.
And in that like in that delusion, like how do you, maybe you deal with it differently now as well, and there might be two parts to this, but like how do you deal with like people saying that it's delusional and people saying that it's not possible? I'm sure you deal with it much better now, but like what's the process being like with like understanding your own delusion as well?
I just don't care what people think.
Have you always been like that, or?
I got bullied heaps as a kid, so I kind of just had to formulate a certain level of like resilience through being bullied. So I think that that's, people can say things, and I'm like, the thing that I will say is if people, there's a difference between vision and fantasy, and there's a difference between like, or let's say a difference between faith and fantasy. And my delusional capacity is very much determined by my ability to discern between faith and fantasy. If I'm in fantasy land, then I care what other people think. If I'm having faith,
Mhm.
I don't care what other people think. So there's two types of, I would argue that there's two sides of the delusional argument. It's like, is someone in fantasy and just associating and saying they're going to do all of this stuff when they're not really going to? Or do they have faith, and can a part of them taste the result, or can a part of them see and feel what it is that they're creating, and then they're just waiting for the 3D to catch up? Like there's a clear difference in this, and I say this to all men that step onto the path of like, be careful that you don't create a fantasy that keeps you small. Because if you create something so huge that you keep on fantasizing about it but never actually doing any work, you don't have a vision. You have a
Mm.
bypassing tool that keeps you dissociated. Doesn't not they're not
Yeah.
they're not the same. And people come and tell me about their visions, and if I can't feel their conviction, I'm like, dude, you're in fantasy and you're never gonna fucking do it. Love and light, peace and blessings and all the fucking bullshit. But dude, I'm here for guys that are willing to swing the axe. And I'm not interested in, like, I'm sure you with this podcast, bro, you probably fantasized over it, and then you would decide, no, this is a vision. I can taste it. I'm gonna create it. I'm gonna buy the
Mm.
microphone, I'm gonna get the thing and get the special headphones, and then it's real. Otherwise, it's just
Yeah.
a fucking
Yeah.
fantasy, man.
So what do you see in those people? What do you see in those men that you just like know that it's like that it's not a fantasy to them, and you know that they're just going to go get it? Like what is it that you see in them or sense in them or feel in them that you just know they're going to go get it?
So the ones that don't, they outsource their power to others, and they refuse to take responsibility for their results. So these are the guys that are constantly supporting, the guys that are constantly attaching themselves to or accessing power via proximity rather than developing the power from within. These are men that have a strong sense of insecurity. And I say that I think you're meant to have a little bit of insecurity. You're not meant to have, but a lot of men who need to fantasize, there's a deep level of insecurity and a deep level of pain and suffering that they don't believe they're worthy of what they want. So they create something so drastically huge that they'll never ever get it to keep that story alive. I'm not worthy of what I want.
Mm.
But they won't calibrate and create something achievable or something that's just outside their window of tolerance, because that would make it real. So they're living in a fantasy land. They're living in an altered reality. They're living in a daydream. And that daydream turns
Mm.
to a nightmare. The guys that do get after it, these are the guys that are willing to fail, the guys that have a certain level of comfortability with rejection. And and what I've noticed is these are guys that would do it whether there was money involved or not.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, that's it's interesting you say that. I was just like doing some marketing stuff today, and one of the questions in it was like, with these people that you want to serve, like if you had to, would you do it for free? And I was like, hell yeah, I would. Like, so yeah, it's interesting you say that. With I'm interested to hear, like, obviously the area that I'm in, like in the health and fitness industry, and I was talking about this before we started as well, it being so focused on like the physical realm and not the mental, emotional, spiritual side of things, that is what it is to actually make it up a human, because essentially we're a cybernetic system, meaning we're a system of systems. From like your perspective, not being directly in the health and fitness industry, but it's obviously a very like masculine dominated industry at the same time. Um, Men with, in my experience anyway, men with a lot of ego, and women trying to compete with men in a male dominated industry as well.
Mm.
So I'm curious from like your perspective. I know you obviously have a view of your perspective of the world and things that are happening with men across the world as well, where things are going right, maybe where things aren't going so right. But and I know you've been on your own health and fitness journey as well, with Pete Tansley. He's my coach now also.
Mm.
So but what's your, yeah, like if you have one, what's your lens of the health and fitness industry and the flaws in it, the things that are going well, the things that are, yeah, maybe falling over? I'm curious to hear it from your lens.
Mm. So I've been training for 18 months now. I never had a gym membership before that. I'm 36, so I never went to. I could count on my hand, two hands, how many times I went to the gym in 34 years of my life. Like I didn't. It wasn't where I went. I was very much into
Yeah.
action sports, and I was very much into destroying myself through uh, extreme acts of sporting. Like that's how I wanted to. I was very much attached to the big moments. What I've learned over the last 18 months is there's a level of discipline required with physical training. There's a level of energy required to show up. I don't love the early mornings, to be honest. I don't think that's something goes on. I'm not, maybe it's just me, but hopping up that early just doesn't work in my brain. Uh, I was at the gym at 5 o'clock this morning. You know, I was there before it opened, and that's a huge milestone for me. You know,
Yeah.
I believe there's so much value in physical training. I feel a stronger bond with Pete. He and I go to the gym every Tuesday. We have a great chat. We have a great time. We have a laugh. We get to connect as men. There's a, what I would say is like, I haven't been in it enough to judge the actual community or tribal aspect. I don't
Mm.
love the high intensity stuff like the high roxes and the CrossFits and those sort of things. They're not my cup of tea. But maybe that's just maybe that's just where I'm at in my personal life. I'm not looking to annihilate myself. But what
Mm.
I would say that is missing from the fitness industry is authenticity. There's a strong sense of performance. And what I've
Hmm.
noticed is everyone really cares about how they look, not so much about how they feel.
Yeah.
And, you know, working with Pete, he and I come from completely different backgrounds, but we both have a very similar kind of outlook on lifestyle is really important.
Yeah.
So I said to him this morning, I said, man, like, I truly believe there's like a minimum standard that I want to be able to hold. Like I want to be able to bench press 100 kilos, run a sub 25K. There's some other parameters that I want. I want to be able to do 20 pull-ups without blinking. There's things that I want to be able to achieve quantifiable results, right? And I want to be 82 kilos. I want a six pack. I want the things on your shoulder. I want all those muscles. I want definition. I want all of that. But I said, you
Yeah.
know, the best thing that I've gotten over this last 18 months, bro, was being able to just be super, super energized and super present and super capable with my son. I said, I'm such a good
Hmm.
dad because I have the energy to be a good dad. On top of
Yeah.
that, I'm really good at being present. Like I've worked hard to develop my emotional capacity and my consciousness. So coupling that with the vitality that I now feel from training and nutrition, I feel unstoppable as a father.
Hmm. Yeah, that's powerful. With you said earlier in terms of most people in the industry are so focused on how they look and haven't really, in my perspective as well, haven't really tapped into how they feel, and they're so driven by and the way that I view this is it's like a top down approach.
Mm.
It's wounds that are in the industry that coaches are passing on to their clients, and it comes through like bodybuilding. It comes through cultures, but essentially, like what I say to a lot of coaches as well is that because coaches and health and fitness professionals haven't gone on their own inner journey and done the healing of themselves, and essentially they're passing on their wounds and not their wisdom, because they haven't gone through that pathway. And one of my mentors used to say this too, is like, you can't give what you don't have, and you can't share what you haven't experienced. So because most people haven't experienced going through how they actually feel and they're so focused on the external, then it's just like this never-ending domino effect, this loop that is just a constant passing down of wounds to clients. So how would you like get someone to start making that transition from so focused on the external to actually start getting into their feeling? Like, where does someone, I'm curious to start with you actually on this, is like, where did you start with all of that? Like, what made you actually go into that in the first place? Like,
Well, a relationship was about to fall by my lap. Like, Meg was going to leave. Meg was done.
Okay, yeah.
And I was good, but I wasn't growing. And then and I was a no man. I was a yes man to all of the daily tasks, but when it came to adventure, newness, growth, I was a no man. I was like, nah, can't do that, don't have enough money. Nah, can't do that, that's too dangerous. Nah, can't do that, that's not in the plan. So I became quite stale. I became quite reliable and dependable, but in that I became predictable and boring. Reliability isn't really a positive trait when people can predict what you're going to do, because then you lose your edge, right? So I was reliable and dependable, which made and I refused to ever take risks or create any direction in my life. So I was always essentially a passenger in my own life. So my relationship, Meg, was generous, so genuinely and generously said, "Hey, I've enjoyed this, but I feel like there's nowhere else for this to really go. This feels like you're as deep as you want to go. I'm going to go this way. Would you like to come? If not, I need to know so I can close this down." That was pretty brutal for me to acknowledge and be humbled by, but I said, okay, no, fuck it. I'm going to have a go. I'm going to explore this. And that's when I first stepped into plant medicine and started working in ceremony. And that really opened my eyes up to this deeper place. So like outward performance is very much on how I look externally and focuses on how we are perceived by the external world. The deep or the inner work really is around how deeply can I perceive my sense of self beneath the feelings, beneath the thoughts, down into the core of who I am. So that was really my start. Like, I started in personal development going deep into the soul. I didn't do much of the frameworks or limiting beliefs or rewiring my patterns or any of that. It was like, let's go into your soul and reconnect you there, and then we'll find our way back.
Yeah. Gone rogue.
So I kind of flipped the script. I went as deep as I could internally, and then I've had to come up from the deepest part of me and figure out, okay, how do I share who I am with the world when all I know is depth? For the first 6-7 years, all I knew was depth. I didn't know how not to speak from lived experience. I didn't know how to framework something. I didn't know how to provide examples outside of my own experience. So it was so lived, I had no actual material outside of my own embodiment, which limited me because it meant that I was always telling stories, or I always had to have experienced something to be able to coach, teach, or lead.
Yeah. So what would your someone coming from the other end then, someone coming from the end of like focusing so much on the external and like bringing that back to, like, we're talking about the wounds that are in the industry, because there's so many things out there, like, yeah, like plant medicine, personal development courses, limiting beliefs, coaching, mentors, meditation, breath work. Like, there's all these things out there that are all great tools, but where does someone know where to begin to actually start taking themselves on that path to find themselves?
So my approach is a 3-step approach. It's concept, it's story, and it's action. So the concept is educating with information. The information helps the mind understand and essentially enrolls it in this new way of thinking. For a lot of people that come through the fitness world, they want the education. They want proof that it works. They want to understand it before they engage with it. So that's how I start. I create a concept or a framework or a model, and I map it out so they can start to see themselves within this. And then once they've understood the concept, I then get a story. I tell a story, and I get them to tell a story. So there's an emotional connection to that concept, and that creates relatability. Cool. You fit in that model. I fit in that model. Oh, we've both got a story, and beneath it, there's this unconscious pattern playing out, which is the same, even though we've experienced different lives. And then the third step is, well, what action, now that I have this information and I've anchored it to an emotion, am I willing to take? So what's the next action step now that I've got clarity and now that I've got courage? I can now step in and take the next step on my journey. So that's how I frame it, man, because I expect people to just feel it and do it the way I do. But I've learned that people learn differently to me, and especially the concepts are a really great place to start. And it's actually asked me to grow up and mature and not just make it the Jacob O'Neill story time. It's actually, here's a framework, and now let's apply it to your life, my life, build that relationship, and then deepen into the next step of the journey, which is accountability to taking action.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
Mm.
I want to talk about the and I know you posted a story about it the other day, and you actually post stories about it quite frequently, which is the concept of, like, I've already won.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really important thing to actually explore and for people to understand, because I feel like there's so much that people don't realize what they already have. And it's the whole concept of the universe will never give you more if you're not grateful for what you already have.
Yeah.
So how do you open people up to get them to see and experience what they already have in front of them, and it's something that they've already been desiring for such a long time? But obviously there's this constant thing, and obviously you can speak into your perspective of it, that this constant thing around, and I know you talk about this a lot as well, is not really celebrating and acknowledging what you've achieved or what you've done so far. And I know for me, that's definitely something that I've gotten better at over time, especially like with working alongside you and coming along to events and doing things with the Embodied Man Institute and everything like that. It's definitely something that when you first showed me, like, the hero's journey, your version of it, and seeing that, I was like, holy shit, I never go into the celebration side of things. I'm just like on this constant wheel of like creating things and doing things, but never celebrating it.
Yep.
And I feel like that ties into the concept of I've already won a lot as well, because like things aren't being appreciated. So yeah, I'd love you to speak into that.
Dude, listen to country music. That'll fix you. That'll fix you. 100%. Like, country music will put a lot of stuff into perspective. It slows you down. But I come from the country, man. I come from a small town. So simple has always been my default. My dad said this thing to someone once, and I overheard him. He said, You give Jacob a Matchbox car, he's the happiest person in the world. You give Jacob a Ferrari, he's the happiest person in the world. I was happy with whatever I had. I don't know if that was because I was always wanting, or I didn't know. But then there's a beautiful thing and maybe this is one of the good things about my childhood, is that I didn't get exposed to a lot of material.
Yeah.
So less is more. Like
Yeah.
really, but wait, let me say that again. And everyone, stop scrolling if you're listening to this. Pull up the car and take a moment. Less is more. That is the answer.
Mm.
Less is more. Like, I thought I needed more to feel good. I actually need less.
Yeah, I grew up in country Victoria as well. So I like my mum was like grew up on a farm, so she essentially wanted to give us that lifestyle as well.
Yep.
So they moved from like inner suburbs of Melbourne out to the country in Victoria because mum wanted us to grow up in the bush on land. So I feel like I get a lot of that as well. Like for me, like being in a city and being like highly stimulated and all these things happening around me, and like for me, coming back to nature is where I feel like I have the most. It's where I feel the most abundant, and it's like there's nothing else that matters when I'm just in this like beautiful place. Like I just got back from Thailand, and we got an Airbnb that was just like this tiny home, like not a big house or anything, like this tiny home on the edge of a cliff that looked out over the water. And it was fucking phenomenal, like absolutely incredible views. Like there was eagles flying around us everywhere. Like literally every morning you walk outside and there'd be like 1-2 eagles just flying off the edge of the cliff. And I feel like, because this is a big part of the industry as well, is it's become so scientific that Paul Chek actually says this, I think it's Paul Chek or someone says it, is the further we move away from nature, the sicker we become.
Yes.
And I feel like this simplicity that you're talking about comes from, like a lot of the stimulation and people thinking like they need more and forgetting that, like less is more. It's like everything we need is all already around us, and it's like, where are the parts that we've been so disconnected from? And the part that most people are disconnected from is nature. Like, what personal trainer or health and fitness professional or chiropractor that you go to, or osteo, maybe someone other than like, I mean, Ryan Pope is amazing. Popey's amazing at it.
Yeah, shout out to Popey.
But like he's a very rare breed of chiropractor, but so many people just become so disconnected from nature. It's like, what personal trainer do you know that actually tells you to sit against a tree and put your feet on the earth? Like it's not really a thing. So I mean, where do you feel like, obviously the answer is sort of everything, but in your perspective is like, where do you feel like nature plays a part in people's healing as well?
So nature slows you down. So I'm all for performance and productivity until it takes you further away from yourself than it does bring you closer. So obviously I've been training in a gym, right? I'm like, why don't I just go out and train in nature? Because I'll fucking end up not training. I'll end up going for a swim. I'll sit under a tree. I'll fuck around. I'll whistle.
Yeah.
I'll be like, what's that? What's that over there? I won't do what I went. So what we look at here in a gym setting is containment. Like containment is what we get when we step into the physical training world. It's so great. All of these machines are designed to help you build muscle, get lean, increase your mobility, all those things. It's great. But what I found was awesome. This is just a slight little shift, right? I was training at Jets, and it was in like a second floor apartment here in Palm Beach, a low false roof, horrible blue light, horrible music, mold stains on the roof. Just like nothing against Jets, but fuck that place. It didn't feel conducive with my natural rhythm, right? And we now Pete and I train at the Tally Rec Center. They've got this gym and they've just opened up an outdoor section. And
Yeah,
this morning we
nice.
were there at 5 a.m. The sun's coming up. We get hit with that vitamin D. They've got some good tunes playing. The fresh air is coming off the ocean. The curlews are making this wild sound. And I was just laughing as I was doing my 70-kilo bench press, man. I got 5 reps today. I'm pumped. And I was like, this feels so much more nourishing and enriching because I'm getting my connection to nature, but I'm not having to sacrifice the containment that a gym gives me. So what I would
Mm,
say is like, where can we start to blend the worlds without compromising the containment that we get from a gym or from someone's skill set or someone's what they're offering. So for instance, when like where does uh, the personal trainer need to say, hey, go down and sit down underneath a tree? It might not be that language. It might have to be like, hey man, I can see that you're burning out. I can see that you're really, you're not, you're coming here and you're crushing it at the gym, but I can also see that your sleep's going down. I can also, so let's track a few other things that are going to determine your overall well-being. Hey man, it's probably a good idea that we take a week off training and that you have a day off work this week. And I know
mm,
that might sound counterintuitive, man, but if we don't rest and if we don't take the time to repair, we're going to end up in a really bad situation where you're going to get up injured and you're going to lose all of the hard work that we've done.
mm. Yeah. I feel like a lot of people don't understand the healing benefits of nature. It's like people, and this is probably the missing piece for, I feel like a lot of people, is they haven't necessarily, yeah, like they've heard the science and stuff like that, but they haven't lived the experience of what it's like to actually sit in nature and how healing it can become.
Mm.
Um, I've actually like got a story of when I was teaching a course once, and a guy came in who's like a really high level personal training coach. He coaches a lot of personal trainers, and he's like one of the smartest dudes I know. Like his brain is phenomenal. And I do this thing sometimes where I take people's blood pressure, like health and fitness, like professionals, like allied health pros, PTs have the most fucked health. It's wild. And when you take like objective measurements, like someone's blood pressure, like the body doesn't lie.
Mm-hmm.
The body like only knows truth. And he came in one day and I was doing this thing and I took his blood pressure, and he's someone that talks about health and food and science of food and in everything like that. And like normal blood pressure is like 120 over 80. The gold standard these days is like 115 over 75. His blood pressure was like, I can't remember exactly, but it was like 190 over like 130 or something like that. It was absolutely ridiculous. But all we got him to do to lower his blood pressure was to go outside, sit against a tree, and do some breath work.
Mm.
And he came back inside like 10 minutes later, and his blood pressure had gone down to like 140 over 90 or something like that. And I feel like what in your experience, because you've done vision quests as well, haven't you?
Yeah,
How many times have you done vision quests?
I've done two vision quests. Yeah, and
Two.
a few other similar sort of rites as well. Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like that's probably the ultimate form of sitting in nature
yeah,
by yourself.
yeah.
But like, what's your experience of how healing that is? Not just for the body. Like, I mean, I was talking about obviously body and blood pressure and everything like that, but how healing it is for the body and the mind.
Oh, it's unparalleled. There's nothing like it. It
Mm.
goes against everything that our society stands for. It's wonderful. It's the biggest fuck you to modernity. I'm going to sit out in nature and do nothing for 4 days, and I won't drink and I won't eat and I won't move and I won't be productive. I won't be an active member of society. I think that if everyone did that for 4 days, we'd get closer to where we want to be than all of this incessant running around trying to save each other. So
Yeah.
I truly believe in the health benefits too, man. Yep, spiritually it's great, but for me, my nervous system, my blood pressure, my eyesight, my skin, all of that, my hearing, I think my taste buds, my smell, it all becomes so much more attuned and so much more sensitive. So then I can be more aligned, or I can move in alignment because I've got these I've got this sensitivity that tells me when I'm out and when I'm in.
Mm.
I I would and more I'm learning the once again, Vision Quest is the ultimate example of less is more.
Mm.
I really truly
It's
believe, yeah,
interesting.
that's where
It's
all my creativity comes from spaciousness too. Like
yeah.
that's where I learned. Like when I did my medicine work over in Peru, we would go out at 9 o'clock in the morning. We would drink the medicine, of course, and have a relationship with the medicine moving through us. But we'd also just sit on the side of a mountain for like 8 hours straight. We wouldn't be doing anything. So you'd sit there and do
Yeah.
nothing. And I think that
Yeah.
was just as powerful as the actual medicine.
Yes. Yeah. I think it's interesting because when I talk, I'm planning to do Vision Quest. I haven't done it yet.
Mm.
Um, I was actually talking to a friend yesterday about going to sit in support in April this year
Hmm.
with some Lakota traditions type Vision Quest.
Awesome.
But it's it's so weird when you travel and experience these different cultures and being in Peru, like sitting in silence and sitting in the mountains is just so normal.
Mm.
And then in our culture, when you talk to someone about sitting a Vision Quest and going to sit out in nature and to not eat and not drink and just be in a sacred space for 4 days straight,
Mm.
like they look at you like you've got three heads
Yeah.
and like, holy shit, like what on earth would you do that for? So, I mean, what was your purpose of doing Vision Quest? Obviously, you'd sat with medicines and everything like that. What was the purpose of taking it to, I suppose, another level in a sense, and actually doing a Vision Quest?
I love extremes. And and my ego loved being the guy who did it. Like there was a serious validation piece,
Yeah,
uh, which almost like the first one's the easy one. The second one really, really was hard. I haven't done the
yeah.
third one yet. I missed it last year due to the cyclone, and then I was initiated in many other ways.
Were you going to sit there that one?
Yeah,
I was going to sit in that
yeah,
one. I was supposed to sit then as
yeah,
well.
and it got called off. So
Yeah,
ironically, I feel like I missed out on that, and I'm craving it. Right, I can feel the part of me
yeah.
that would just love to go and really be in nature for 4 days straight. But what called me to it was that I'd been working with medicine and so deeply, and it was just literally the next step.
Mm.
It was like, cool, you've been working deeply with this medicine work, and yes, you can go to another ceremony, which would be great. And I will continue to sit in ceremony and work with these plants as they've been incredible allies and teachers and masters for me. But this was an opportunity to get to know like nature and not just nature, but know myself as nature.
Mm. Yeah,
So that was
yeah.
wonderful without the I guess the support of the medicine in my system. What I found was that it was a lot more subtle and it wasn't as intense, and it required a certain level of maturity and openness to actually begin to relate with my soul. I didn't have kind of
Mm.
like plant medicine can kind of give you can sometimes be a little more a bit of a fast track to it.
Yeah,
Yeah, and you and I have sat in ceremony together, and we've sat across and smiled and laughed and been in that wonderful place of like joyous, unbridled connection where there's no separateness. Of course, it's wonderful, but then
yeah.
could I actually create that without any, stripping everything back: people, food, water, technology, uh, rattle, drum. There was no music. I didn't speak for 4 days. Like I
Mm.
stripped. It's the ultimate less is more practice. And I guarantee you, man, like when I came back into the world and I started to reconnect with things, it was like it was it was such a divine experience to drink water and to be
Yeah.
grateful for water, to look into my lover's eyes and just drink her in, to then go and have a meal together, and then to sing together, and then to gift the leaders of the Vision Quest, the people that lead and offer this lineage, to gift them things from my heart to them, and to sit and play and connect. It was just everything meant so much more. The little things meant so
Mm.
much more.
Yeah, I'm so excited to. I was amping myself up so much for that Cyclone Vision
Yeah.
Quest. I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna have to sit in a fucking Cyclone for my first Vision Quest, and this is gonna be insane. But I was like amping myself up for it. It's like I was like shitting myself and like
Yes.
psyching myself up at the same time.
Mm.
And then it got cancelled, and I was like, oh damn it. Like I was more pissed off than I was relieved. Um, but like in where do you feel like people can cultivate this type of slowness and presence and healing in a day-to-day without having to go sit a Vision Quest?
Yeah, man. That's where I wanted to take this conversation. So I'm glad that you asked that, because I was like, not everyone wants to go and do that, and not everyone's ready for it, man. Like, not everyone has the resilience or the capacity. And I would
Yeah.
argue that the reason that I found Vision Quest to be such a really deep and enriching experience was because I'd done 8+ years of deep ceremony work leading into it. So it's not like I wasn't preparing. Unofficially and unknowingly, I was preparing myself for it. I have also run marathons. I've run 100 kilometers. I've done some shit that has shown me that I'm capable of larger, more extraordinary things. And I built a certain level of faith in my capacity. I still suck at ice baths, but but yeah, I've developed that. So I truly believe that if you want to start somewhere, I would start with a half an hour walk every day. Especially if you're a man, one of the key things that creates a sense of openness and flow is moving through time and space.
Yeah.
Super simple. Going for a walk, not a run. And don't wear your fucking Garmin or your Apple Watch or your Whoop, or take all of the measurements away and make this a practiceless practice.
I was actually talking to someone about this the other day, how much I love walking and how healing it was for me.
Yeah.
Especially when my previous relationship ended as well. I had a relationship for like 12 and a half years, and that relationship finished. Like walking was my savior. It literally was. I would like when we were going through like the breakup and trying to organize things, and I'd come home, I'd have a conversation, and I'd be like, fuck, I'm just like, my nervous system jacked up. I'd go for a walk. I'd come back, have another conversation, and be like, no, gotta go for another walk. And I was walking like 3-4 times a day. But it was the most healing thing, just to be with myself, be with my own thoughts, not be distracted by my phone or anything like that. That was a big, like, a recognizing for me of how much walking could actually do for me. Like, I knew the physical benefits of it for sure, but going through that of like, because when I went through that breakup as well, I didn't tell anyone. For a purpose of me going within and not sharing it. Like, I didn't tell my parents for a week. I didn't tell my friends for about 2 weeks because I knew it would be a distraction of actually me feeling the pain and feeling the hurt and feeling the suffering of such a big part of my life coming to an end.
And they would also influence it with their perspective as well, right? So in one way, you were allowing yourself to feel it through your 100%. That's not once again, like, that's solitude. That's a conscious choice to be alone in stillness, to feel what you need to feel. That's not self-isolating. I just want to clear that up for anyone that's like, oh, Nick should have told us. It's like, Nick was consciously choosing to be still with what was there. If you're self-isolating and you're avoiding conversations, you're like, I need to tell this person and I'm not, that's different.
Yeah. but yeah, in that, walking was like my savior.
Uh,
Just being by myself, being with my, or I was walking with my dog,
yep.
and it was just the greatest thing that I could have done. And it just allowed me to move through things, like instead of sitting still,
Hmm.
and just like movement is just so healing, and doing it in nature as well. I used to say this to clients all the time. Like, I've never programmed someone to walk on a treadmill. Like, if you're going to walk, get outside and walk.
Yeah.
If you're going to run, there's no point running on a treadmill. Like, get outside and run.
Yeah.
Like, be in nature so you can add to the actually benefits of what you're doing as well.
Mm.
Um, I wanted to,
Can
the
I say
last
one
piece.
last thing there too, man?
Yeah.
Like that
Yep.
that's a biological thing for men. Moving through time and space is how we create focus. So men quite often, if they have to sit still and try to feel something, it can be quite unbearable. So like I gave a bro came to me the other day, he's a solid men's facilitator, and he's like I can't. Every time I need to be present, I have to do a huge breath work or I have to go and work out. And I was going to give him a sit spot practice to sit down and just sit still for 3 hours a day. And then I was like, hang on, dude, that's going to be far too abrupt. I was like, what I want you to do is I want you to go for a walk for an hour and then sit for an hour and then go for a walk for an hour. So for
Yeah.
us men, for us to find stillness, it's super important that we create an opportunity to move through time and space so we can arrive at a point of stillness. This modern world moves fast. We are a product of our environment. So if we're in the fast-paced world, phones, laptops, inundation of information and opportunity, we start to move at that pace. If we jam the handbrake on, it can be jarring to our nervous system to the point where it will actually make us sick. You ever like been going so hard that, and then you pull up and you get sick immediately?
Yeah.
Yeah. This happens to dudes on holidays all the time. Like, I hate taking holidays. It's like, oh, yeah, dude, because you get sick because you work up until 6 p.m. on a Friday, and then you hop in the car and you drive 8 hours to the holiday destination, and then the next day you wake up and you're congested and your back hurts. Of course. So
Yeah.
this is super important, man. Like the transition from movement to stillness must honor whatever your nervous system needs to arrive at that point. So that walking for you was like energy. If I was to try and stay here, I'm either going to implode or harden and close off, which I don't want to do. So I'm going to move. I'm going to take myself
Mm.
for a lap, move through time and space, locate myself, locate my thoughts, locate my feelings, bring everything into some kind of alignment or some kind of calibration, and then lean back into the difficult thing.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That sort of leads in a lot into my last thing that I wanted to talk to you about as well, which was like with you being a leader in the space, and like I was talking about earlier, the health and fitness industry being very masculine dominated as well, and coaches being leaders for their clients and being role models for their clients. I talk to a lot of coaches about just, replace the word coach for role model as well. How, especially with it being masculine dominated and masculine leadership as well, how do you see coaches being able to lead their clients better from a healthy place, from a healthy masculine place, to help them achieve their desired outcome, compared to like very, I suppose, unhealthy masculine ego, those types of things? Like, what's the best way to lead clients from a healthy masculine place?
Make it fun. Make it fun. Like it's no, why
Yeah.
would the fuck? Like what I've learned is that most men will create a sense of they find purpose through pain, and then they create a life of perpetual suffering. And then when it comes time to enjoy the things that they've worked so hard to get to, they've taught themselves that pain and suffering are the only things that matter. So when they actually get the opportunity to experience pleasure or fun, they can't. So
Mm.
make it fucking fun. Like,
Yeah.
and what I say is like, take Valan, one of my bros, said this to me. He said, and I don't know if he got it off someone, but I'm just referencing him just in case I mess this up. He said, take the work seriously, but not yourself. And I have everything's sacred, but some
Mm.
people end up on one side, which is the serious. And then there's the other side of the sacred, which is silly. You need both, silly and serious.
Yeah.
So have
Yeah.
fun, man. Have some fun. Don't forget to have
But
fun, because otherwise, and a child will teach you this if you have a child, and I highly recommend having one because it's the coolest thing I've ever done, and I've done cool shit before, but this is way cooler. Is that you are if you are going to be a present, conscious father or parent, you will be required to learn how to have fun because those little fuckers love having fun. And like I have been more playful, I've been more imaginative, I have made up more songs, I have been more creative, I've told more stories, I've been more tired and exhausted than I've ever been, but I've never been this content or fulfilled in my life. And it's truly, man, because I'm learning that if I'm not having fun now, then what do you think I'm going to do when I get the thing that I want? Am I going to have fun then? No, because I've taught myself to be in pain and suffering.
yeah.
Now, the where I learnt this, just to give you an understanding, is this will circle back really beautifully. I love segues and I love tying it all up in a nice little bow. Is there's a book called Born to Run, and it's about the Mexican running tribe. Well, it's about running in general, but it circles around this Mexican running tribe. They're called the Raramuri, or the more widely known as the Tarahumara. And they say that these people, they don't run individually, they run in groups. They run as a tribe. And they
Mm.
run with the earth, not on it. And they run with a smile on their face. They don't run because they have to or because they need to get fit. They run because they enjoy it. So it's really important that you develop an element of fun in your training, an element of joy, an element of connection, an element of belonging, an element of meaning in the program that you are experiencing
Yeah.
and the environment that you're experiencing that program within. So
Yeah, for sure.
who are the people around you? Because that's important. Are you connected to nature, or are you just existing upon the resources that it provides? Walk with the earth, not upon it. That's a relationship, not an entitled place. So gratitude, right? And then the third one, which was belonging, connection to earth, is, there's a lot of bad shit happening in the world, and I, if you need to feel that and grieve some of that, do your work. But man, if you stop and took a breath, you'd realize that there is so much joy available in this moment.
Yeah.
And if there isn't, and there's pain and grief, experience that pain and grief so the joy can come back online. But the thing about joy, when we really acknowledge the moment, it exposes us to the very real fact that one day this will all be over, which is what we have to wrestle with. Joy isn't happiness. Joy is a complete and utter ability to be yourself in the given moment, regardless of who you're
Mm.
with, what you're doing, or where you're at.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the third part, man. It's like, who are you around? Are you connected to the earth and grateful for what you've got? And can you see that you have the opportunity to smile and enjoy what you're doing? And in that, you will create an environment, an experience, and a community around you that reflects that joy.
Amazing,
Mm.
man. I think that's just you saying that as well.
Mm.
Just before we wrap it up, I was like, oh, this like me being in ceremony is where I have the most fun.
Yeah.
It's people take it so seriously and feel like they have bad experiences. But I always have this intention of going into ceremony of like, yeah, doing serious work, but having a shitload of fun.
Mm.
And the best nights of my life have been in ceremony. I remember when I was standing across the fire from you that night, you're just like, how good is hanging out with men? I was like, this is the coolest thing ever.
Dude, that was the funniest. I still remember you just dressed all in white, and it looked like you'd literally escaped from the Hare Krishna village. It was like this guy's escaped and he's like free for. It's like he's escaped the cult. But like, dude, like there was a strong sense of belonging. There was a strong sense of
Yeah.
intention and meaning to the work, and then you were choosing joy. It's a bold thing to do in this modern world, man. And if anyone listens to this and then they come along to Tigom, or if you've been to Tigom, you might have a little understanding of why I created in the way that I did. We're out on the land.
Mhm.
We're in a community of men, like-minded men, and we're doing fun shit.
Yeah,
My little
absolutely.
brother said to me, he's like, dude, you just created a weekend doing all the things you love. And I was like, Yeah, it doesn't everyone. Yeah, and everyone wants to do that. I'm pretty sure everyone wants to do that. He's like, yeah, we do, but he's like, you also just brought everything that you love together. And I was like, that's kind of what life's meant to be. It's meant to be an expression of you. Your
Yeah,
creativity, your gift to the world is your authentic expression. So that's what I
yeah.
truly believe in, man. So, dude, thanks for having me, man.
Ama- Amazing, man. This has been awesome. Is there anything you want to share? Obviously, I'll tag you in the description and everything, so people can follow you on social media, on Instagram,
Mm,
and the Embodied Men Institute and everything you're creating.
yeah.
Anything else that you want to share, or anything you have going on that you want to let the people know? This will
Mm,
be released in a couple of
yeah.
weeks. Yeah,
Yeah, just hit us up on Instagram, the Embodied Man Institute or the Jacob O'Neill, and we've got a solid event in May, a one dayer. We've got another one dayer in July, and then obviously TGOM in October. And if you're someone who's struggling in relationship, that's what we're really good at. We're not PTs, we're not business coaches. We teach you how to have a healthy relationship with yourself, with nature, and with a partner. So we really, really
yeah.
believe in relationships as the foundation for a man's ability to go out and pursue his purpose. So if you're struggling in your relationship, whether it's a long-term one, a short-term one, or you're looking to get into a healthy relationship, that's where we do our best work and we can help men the most. So if you're looking for that, hit me up, shoot me a message, and we'll have a chat.
Thanks, mate. I appreciate it. I've like just so you guys know as well, I've personally been coached by Jacob. He's absolutely phenomenal. I've been to Tigom twice, been to Sacred Rage and some of the events that Embodied Man Institute runs, and that's why I got you on, man, because it's been a game changer for me and helped me so much in terms of my inward journey.
Mm.
And it's something that a lot of people are missing. So yeah, if you're a PT or a coach or of any sort, even if you're a female, listen to this, then get your man along to something like that, because it will literally change your life and their life. Invite a brother along, because this is the amazing work that Jacob's doing. So thanks, mate. Appreciate you taking the time and jumping on. This has been awesome.
Respect, bro. Together we rise.
Together we rise. Aho.
Aho.